What is going on, everybody? It is Bucky, and I am kind of sick right now, so if I sound a little stuffy or I blow my nose during this tutorial, then I guess you guys are just going to have to deal with it. But I'm going to teach you some Java in the meantime, so let's go ahead and get started. Actually, we took a break from GUIs for the next couple of tutorials. I'm going to be teaching you something about files. Now, you can create and modify files in Java just like most other programming languages. If you guys are saying, alright, what exactly is a file useful for? I'll give you guys the quick 1-2 of the main thing it's useful for. So far, we created computer programs that use like variables and stuff like that, like store the number 5 in X, or store like the name Bucky in Y or something like that. But once they end their program, then all of these variables and methods are all gone. So if we want to like keep it in a database, then we actually need to like keep it in a text file, so that way when they run the program again, then all their information is there, and they don't, it's not just like a program that you can run once and it forgets about it. That way it can store your information on the computer, then when you run your program again, we can automatically load the values and stuff and get them again. So we'll be going over, we'll actually be building a program later on, but for now, let me get typing some code before I lose you guys. So let's go ahead and import the file class. So java.io.file, or you can import everything, but that's good enough. And what the file class does is, this is real simple. It doesn't create files or anything. All this class does is give you info about files, like whether it exists. It has a couple things like length, the path, the parent, stuff like that. Right now, what we're going to be doing is testing whether a file exists on our computer. And this is useful for things like if you're creating a program to make a file for the first time. If it already exists, you don't want to create one again, or else it's going to delete it. So you want to see if it's there first, and then if it's there, you can like write to it. If it's not there, then you can create it. So simple enough. What you do is type the file class. We'll name it X. You can name it whatever you want. And then type new file, and what this does is the constructor takes the path of the file. So I actually know that I have a file in C, and you actually have to do this. Capitalize your directory, whatever it is, and if you do, I'll show you guys. Test is in the directory, and I have a file name greg.txt right there. So normally this would work, and that's a valid path name. But the thing is, when we're working with strings, that little backslash is the escape character. So this is, whenever you put this is going to try to escape this T and put a tab in G and stuff like this. So what we need to do when we're working with path names in Windows is actually need to put two backslashes like this. And when we do this, it views this as only one backslash, because remember, whenever we do backslash with a string, then it's going to try to escape it, because that's just how Windows is. So actually, whenever you do path names, do two backslashes if you're working with Windows. If you're working with Linux, I think it's a front slash, but I'm not sure. So now that we have this file that is stored in the variable X, we can do a couple things to it, and what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is simply check if it exists. So along with many of the built-in methods, we can do if X, what we just did, EX, and we'll just shortcut it right there. If X exists, and if we hover over this, it says test whether the file or directory pretty much exists. So if greg.txt exists, then what do we want to do? Let's go stuffy nose. System out print line, and we can print something like we can actually have x.getName, and that'll be pretty cool, and we'll just add something like exist, so it'll be like greg.txt exist. Or if it doesn't, we'll insert a file that doesn't exist later, so I can tell you guys what it does. And system out print line, and we'll say this thing doesn't exist, and make sure you almost type everything wrong, so which I did. So now we can go ahead and run this program and see what we get. It says Greg.text exists, and I probably should put a space right there, but I didn't. And what is going on is this. If you look at my computer right here, and you go to C test, and this is a C, and the test is right here, a file named greg.txt does exist. But what if you had a file name in here like like that? See, that's what I can think of off the top of my head. If you run this and click OK, it's going to say this thing doesn't exist. So that is how you can pretty much look for files in their existence using the file name and the exist properties. And I also tell you another one, the get name, pretty much to get the name of it. And that's a quick, cute little tutorial. And let's see if there's anything else I didn't cover. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. And in the next tutorial, I'm actually going to show you guys, alright, we already tested if it existed or not. If a file doesn't exist, then how do we create one? I mean, of course, we can go to our computer right here and create a file like this. But we want to create one in Java programming language. So that's what I'm going to be teaching you in the next tutorial. So for now, thank you guys for watching. Study this. And again, review one more time. You create an object from the file class, and as this constructor, it takes the path name of the file. And remember, when you're working with strings, you got to escape the backslashes. Then you test whether it exists. If it does exist, run load code to do anything. And if it doesn't exist, then you usually in here you want to write code to create the file. But for now, I just want to write a little prompt saying this thing doesn't exist. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned a little something. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.